Joshua Wong was only 15 years old when he met Hong Kong's chief executive CY Leung during a Facebook event where whoever got the most likes on a post would meet the chief. With the Scholarism Facebook, a pro-democracy student activist group created by Joshua when he was only 14, fighting for the reform of Hong Kong's education system, he entered and won. While most people his age would have asked Leung what his favorite pastime was or who inspired him, Joshua instead grilled the chief executive on national education. National education was going to be a pro-communist, moral, and national education, but for many youths like Joshua, it was seen as a brainwashing education, an education opposing freedom of thought. CY Leung was not at all interested in what Joshua had to say, dismissing him as a troublemaker. On May 13, 2012, Scholarism held a rally for young students in Hong Kong. In the midst of the rally, Joshua was surrounded by reporters. The videos from these interviews surfaced on the internet, which helped Scholarism gain new members, 100 to be exact. With these new members, Scholarism occupied the square outside government headquarters, the occupation happening only 4 days before the start of national education. Scholarism refused to leave until the government withdrew national education. Over 100 people showed up. When one reporter asked Joshua what he would do if the police started using force, his response was, This mass action should sound familiar. We learned this semester that during the civil rights movement, there were mass sit-ins at public places like restaurants to protest the ways Black people were treated. These sit-ins are also one out of 198 of Gene Sharp's forms of nonviolent resistance. On day 4, the first day of national education, only 10 or 20 people were inside the square. But then, as Joshua said, a miracle happened. More people showed up, and by day 9, the Black Clothes rally, people came in great numbers to oppose the national education. There were more than 120,000 people there filling the plaza, 4-lane roads, pedestrian bridges, and the park. The mass protest worked, and Luang announced on October 8th, 2012 that the national education would not be mandatory. But this was just one battle in the war of keeping the one country, two systems arrangement that China was running on. When Hong Kong was handed back from the British to China in 1997 after what China determined as 150 years of humiliation, Hong Kong was going from a Western-bred population with democratic value to the communist. This is where the rise of pro-democratic activists like Joshua rose. Occupy Central started in 2014 by Benny Tai, a law professor. Occupy Central was a mass protest against China's refusal to grant Hong Kong universal suffrage. Central is the center business district in Hong Kong. The protest was soon taken over by thousands of students from Joshua's contacts. Many people know this movement as the Umbrella Revolution. As protesters persisted for up to 79 days, police would spray the protesters with pepper spray and also use tear gas. The protesters, instead of using violence, would shield themselves with umbrellas. As support was slipping away, Joshua Wong decided to go on a hunger strike. At his worst days, he had to be carried around in a wheelchair. On the 5th day, doctors forced Joshua to end his hunger strike. Occupy Central failed, but Joshua continued to fight. Joshua went from street activism to changing the system from the inside by forming Demosisto to run for legislative council. Along with other members of Scholarism, they won. Nathan Law, a previous protester and friend of Joshua, became the youngest legislative council member at only 23. In the very beginning, we learned that Kurlansky's main thesis was on how using creative means of nonviolence is a way to protest for what you believe in. Joshua Wong has taken creative civil disobediences to gain support and create a strong stance against the government. And now with Demosisto and his determination to run when he is of age, he's taking political action to create a long-standing democratic impact on Hong Kong, all without violence.